jump straight into it. Can you start with your name and where you're from originally? I'm sorry.
I'm Abby Smith, and I was originally born in the East Coast in Virginia, Newport News.
Did you have both your parents growing up?
Huh?
Did you have both your parents growing up?
No, I had a stepdad.
Stepdad?
Yeah, and my mom.
Well, can you describe your childhood growing up then?
Military style. My stepdad was in the Navy. He was gone for the first 4 years, and abusive.
Abusive? Was that just physical, sexual?
Both.
Both. Okay. Now, can you tell me at what point in your life did you start maybe feeling different or feeling like you were feeling as you were maybe a woman or not a boy, or can you go into
When I
that?
was 12, when I was 12, I was placed on Ritalin from the age of 2 until I was 12. And I was put with 2 pairs of doctors, and they told me that I was chemically imbalanced and that the Ritalin would only temporarily suppress the issue, which me being chemically imbalanced, which would fix it, would be estrogen. And my mom's against it because my mom's homophobic and racist. And so I wasn't allowed to be on it, so I was told that I could, when I get older, I can have the choice to take the medication or choose to just keep doing life the way I wanted it. And the doctor said if I had a few marriages and a bunch of kids and nothing worked out, they say we highly suggest for you to do it. And sure enough, all those things the doctor said actually happened. Yeah.
Now, you said your mom was not obviously accepting the situation at all.
No. She said we'll never see those doctors again.
So, being young and feeling the way you were, how was that just growing up from high school and from just being young?
I was in group homes from the age of 12 until I was 19. So I graduated with a modified high school proficiency test. My stepdad had me put in group homes. He didn't want me in the house. But I was violent. I had to hide it. I became violent.
And you said you did graduate high school, correct?
Right, with a 5th grade education.
Now, through your journey, have you had to deal with any type of addiction and whatnot?
Yeah, I was on that Ritalin from the age of 2 until I was 14. So then I went from 14 to I went to alcohol. And then when I hit 33, I got put in a wheelchair and I found out what pain medication and heroin was about. Yeah.
Can you kind of go back into how'd you get into the wheelchair?
I got hit by a car. Yeah.
And then to go ahead again, you said the heroin and pain medication. Can you kind of go through your life and experiences on that? And are you still currently
I was
using?
married. In 2011, I got hit. I left my credit card at Jack in the Box, and I ran down the hill on a bike, and a girl came out and she hit me, which from there put me in a wheelchair. I got a metal plate and some screws. And then a year and a half later, I was trying to get out of the wheelchair, and I got hit by a car again, put back in the wheelchair again from the bike.
Shit.
True story.
Oh, yeah.
So when I got put in the wheelchair, this is what really helped my transition. I was living like a thug in East Oakland, doing all the stuff that they were doing. I was angry. Everybody would question it. You ain't no fag, no nothing. They would question it.
I'm sorry, cut you off. I was gonna ask you at that time, were you living? How were you living? You living like as a man or?
As a man, I didn't just. Yeah, so when I was living in Oakland a certain way, I got treated a certain way. So then I got put into a wheelchair, and I seen life differently. Like people treated me totally different. Because before I had tattoos and stuff, and they saw the way I was dressed, they treated me differently. But now you're in a wheelchair, there's more sympathy, you're not a threat to them. I mean, even as a guy, I had another guy call the police on me because he was threatened by my clothes. Yeah, he said the way this person's dressed should be locked up, and I'm like, no. So I mean, I gotta learn a lot from all that stuff. So when I decided to transition, I went to prison for 5 years, 8 months. I decided I was gonna transition.
And before we jump into that, do you mind going into how you made it to prison, essentially?
I got into a car accident. After getting put into the wheelchairs, I was addicted to alcohol and pills, and then I was driving. So at 1 year, I wrecked 5 cars in 1 year.
Shit.
Yeah, that was bad. And I went to prison for 5 years, 8 months. I got hurt the worst in my car accident. I got hurt on Highway 1. We're so high up that you could put Walmart down at the bottom, it would be the size of your thumb.
Shit.
And the guardrails were 4 high. I put a Mini Cooper center chassis on top of the guardrail with the back tires hanging over the cliff. It was a family of 3 in the car, husband, wife. And it was me in a Mini Cooper with my blue nose pit, and my girl. And I was still a guy at the time. And we were doing 15 and a 55. And the line kept breaking, and that was bothering me. So I'd jump out, shoot around, pass a bunch of cars, and then I'd repeat and do it again. And I did about 30, 40 cars. And I get to the last car, and it's a gray Ford Tempo. And I was like, this is the culprit, 94 Ford Tempo. Okay, this is great. This is 2015. And I'm like, all right, this is the culprit. No, it wasn't. It was a little black Nissan, him and his little girlfriend being assholes. And I tried to overtake him, and he took off with me, and he locked doors with me. And so I hit the brakes, tried to get in. He went bumper to bumper with the other car. There's 40 cars back there. I'm not waiting. So I popped the clutch again. The turn was coming, and I could see a Mini Cooper coming because of the antenna, and it's the big one. And the turn is literally saying like 10 miles an hour. I'm doing 90. He's locking with me, so I said, oh shit, here comes the Mini Cooper. Thank you. And he turned around, and I had to hit the brakes, and the brakes slipped. I had to apologize to my passenger, and I said, I am so sorry for this. And I slammed the wheel over, hit the Mini Cooper, hit the Nissan, hit this asshole in the ditch. That's much of my car, hit the Mini Cooper. I put him on the guardrail backwards like this, because I hit him, I was doing 90, he flipped up this way, slid backwards. The other car went over this way. I stayed on the middle of the line. I shattered the tailbone, the pelvic bone, the heel of my foot. That guy, he shattered the heel of his foot too. Same heel. And I spent 11 days in the hospital. It took the ambulance 2.5 hours to get to me. The officer was 2 hours and 45 minutes to get to me. They did a breathalyze. I tried to fight it the whole time for 17 months, but because I had alcohol in my breath, 2.5 hours later, they don't know if it's rising, falling, they don't know what it is. And so I got sentenced to 5 years, 8 months after that. But they let me go for like a whole year and a half, and I had got in trouble again in like 3 different counties, facing felonies in all 3 different counties. I beat all of them except for the felony DUI that I went to prison, and that's where I did my transition.
They gave you a lot of leeway, I feel like, up until that.
No, my injuries were that extent.
I
broke my ass.
Okay.
This whole bottom of my body, all the muscles went to atrophy. Once you break your tailbone, 36 muscles are attached to your tailbone.
Shit.
Yeah, so when you break that, it all goes to atrophy, so your legs get really tiny. And they had to keep stretching me out. They had to put a band around me to stretch my spine and stuff out. Yeah, I lost 35 pounds in 3 days from that car accident. I was the worst in that car accident. I spent 6 months in East Oakland on a couch in 69 Village in East Oakland for 6 months on a sectional. And they had to carry me up and down the stairs so I can take a bath. It's the family. They looked out for me. I was literally lucky I had them.
That's definitely love right there for sure.
Yeah, but once I transitioned, they ain't fucking with me.
I was going to ask you about
That's that
too.
Oakland family. They ain't fucking with this shit.
So what made you choose the time in prison to transition?
My mom is really homophobic and racist. We can be in Denny's and there could be a group of fags, or gay people, excuse me, sitting off in a corner. And my mom, she would see them and she'd be like, oh my God, kids, don't look over there. Ew, oh my God, I can't believe they're here in public. That's disgusting, duh. And I'd be like, Mom, they did nothing to you. They're minding their own business. And it would bother her. And I could see how bad it would irk her. Like it was under her skin. Like she could have just hit the gas pedal and ran him over and got away with it. She would have done it. And so for me to transition, I had to wait to go do it in prison. So my whole life, she would question me, you ain't no fag, are you, or anything like that. I'd be like, no, Mom. Because if I ain't had no girls over in a few days, a few sluts over in a few days, she starts questioning it. Like, what's going on? I ain't seen no girls. What's going on? You ain't gay, are you? I seen you around a guy too many times. No, Mom, I'm not gay. And so I told myself if I ever went to prison, that'd be the only time I could transition. So when I got sentenced to 5 years, 8 months, which I knew I was going to eventually go to prison the way I was living my life, because I lived my life like Grand Theft Auto. Eventually, you're going to get caught. Oh, I was laying on the ground going, this is the one I'm going to prison for. DUI is no way around this shit. I got domestic. I'm beating my domestics like I beat my women. I mean, shit. I was beating everything else, but a DUI, you ain't beating no DUI. So I transitioned in prison. And I would say that's probably the roughest place anybody could ever transition, is prison. But it wasn't bad. At first it was, because I had to do a whole bunch of paperwork to get from one prison to another, because they don't want to put you where you need to be. I said I was trans. They kept putting me in every prison that wasn't trans. They shipped me all the way to Hatchby. Well, actually, the first one, they shipped me to Chuckawalla, all the way out in Blythe. That's an 8.5 hour bus ride from
Shackled next to somebody, I bet.
no, San Bruno, not Kern. It's in Kern County. It's right by North Kern. But I did my reception there, and then they had to send me all the way out to Chuckawalla, and then I went to Tehachapi. In Tehachapi, the mental health in the CC1, they laughed at me and told me I would never be a part of the transgender program. And I had to get it to a 3rd level appeal, get it sent to Sacramento. And on December 24th, 2018, they pulled me in the office and they apologized to me. It took me 7 months. 7 months I fought their asses. And I got transferred to the proper facility. And February 2019, 26th of February 2019, I started my first hormone shot.
Why was there so much pushback, you think? They thought you were trying to maybe get over, or?
No, they're homophobic, and those prisons run them the way they want to. That's why there's Sacramento, and there's a paper trail. So you challenge in-house, and if in-house says no, and we're not giving in to what your request is, but you know the request is right by the book, by the Title 15, then you just a 3rd level appeal it and send it off to Sacramento. Sacramento reviews it, and if I'm right, they'll tell them that they have to grant my shit. So, and being trans, oh yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit more about how that was transitioning in prison. Was it hard for you? Was it easy?
I think it was more easier because I was never a gay. I never, like, I had this conversation with my best friend yesterday. I was always a dude. I never did any gay shit. Never. I mean, this is the gayest shit I've ever done in my life. My best friend can't believe I got more pussy than anybody he ever known. And for me to go do this, and it's a hustle. Everything's a hustle. It really is. My wife's sister goes, I know this is a fucking hustle. I know you ain't fucking gay, motherfucker. I know.
I'm sorry.
But it's the truth. My friend said it yesterday too. You're a fucking dude. No shit. But don't get me wrong, there's other trans out there. They're full female. They full do the full thing. I mean, the most feminine thing I do is shopping and makeup. But prison was cool. Dudes were teaching me how to put on makeup. They observe you, especially the ones that have been sitting down for a long time and don't keep sitting for a little while. They observe you and they give you pointers. I'll tell you everything from your walk to the way you talk to the way you interact with somebody. They will tell you. Yeah, and a lot of it is straight biased men, cis men. They'll just be straightforward and they'll come to you and be like, hey, I'm not into you like that, but this is what I noticed. And this is my opinion. And I've gotten like the best advice from them. I'm like, thank you. And it's definitely, usually it comes when it's really needed. And it's really appreciated. It helped me get through a lot in prison. Prison's not as bad as people think it is. It's actually jail. Jail's the worst. Everybody's detoxing. Nobody knows where they're going. They're stressing about how much time they're getting. They're hurried up to try to take that deal to get home so they can get a hit of that crack pipe real quick or something. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't have too much of a bad problem in prison. So, but I was glad I transitioned in prison.
Helped a lot.
It did.
So, coming out of prison,
that was a different story.
I was gonna say, did you lose a lot of friendships? Did family members maybe not wanting to talk to you, be around you? How was that? How was the life afterwards?
So in 2014, I met this girl named Annie, and I told her I wanted to transition, and I ended up getting in my car accident while we were together. We were together for the first 2 years. I got her pregnant, and along the line, I was facing a domestic charge with her, and some guy was telling me, and it's the same time I went to prison for 5 years, 8 months. And the guy was sitting there telling me, you're gonna have a boy, you're gonna have a girl, and all of this stuff. And Annie ended up getting pregnant, and I called her and was like, you're pregnant. Even this guy in here says you're pregnant. And she calls me back and goes, shut the fuck up, you were right. I am pregnant. And it was a little girl. I ended up getting out to a 4-year-old. That was crazy. So she was only being told about your daddy. Here's pictures of your daddy. Your daddy comes out as a bitch, as a female. She was like,
is that daddy?
Yeah, she even did it. She goes, you're boy. And I go, you're smart. You're boy. You're not girl. You're boy. I said, you're smart, Ayana. Quit. You know? And my kids, one thing they asked, they go, what do we call you? And I said, what do you want to call me? They go, Dad. I said, that's fine. So it's cool when you got a 4-year-old running through the park going, my daddy's chasing me, but I'm in full dress, full makeup. And the other little kids are staring, going, isn't that your mom?
And you only have one kid, or?
I got 6.
6? Shit, okay. You were going crazy.
I got 4 baby mamas. I was a male hoe. I was. I got 6 kids, 4 different baby mamas. Most of my kids are black. 4 of my kids are black. One's Italian, and then another one's Mexican. Yeah.
Yeah, but everything in there.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel Well, I kind of feel like you kind of already went into this with the pregnancy situation, but I'm still asking again. Do you feel transition later in life was a little bit better for you?
Yeah, it was. There's more things set up out there right now for my transition than versus like if I had waited like 2 more years, if I had done it 2 years sooner, it would have been a little tougher. So at 2017, things started getting easier for us, and it happened to be a good time. Yeah, and it accidentally happened at the good time, which was the weird part. I'm like, wow, I actually did this at the what time I did this at? What benefits am I allowed to get now? What? I didn't think none of this was possible. When I started, I was just doing it to do it. So it was good timing at weird timing, yeah. But I spent like 14, 15 months sitting in the hole, 14 months in the hole. I did. People tripped about how long I sat in there for.
And what was that for? If you don't mind going
I
into
was
it?
fighting and stuff, and then when I got in the hole, there was so much shit going on in the hole. People were popping doors, stabbing each other. I didn't want to leave. I was watching all that shit like 24/7. You know, and so I stayed back there. And I didn't like being in the dorms. They were too loud. Sales were a little bit more quieter, but they were more violent. But yeah, I liked it back there. A little easier.
And currently, if you don't mind me asking, how do you make a living? Or how you make money?
Oh, I'm a cam model. I make adult entertainment. I make adult content. Is what I do.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, do you feel happier now that you can essentially kind of be yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Way more happier. I'm not living a lie. I'm able to express myself the way I want to, when I want to. You know, I don't have to appease to anybody else but myself. Which is what's frustrating before is because everything I did was to appease to everybody else, but it was never to myself. So now it's like I appease to myself, and a lot of other people actually like it. You know? So.
I don't think I asked you, how did you make it to San Francisco?
Oh, prison. I got out of prison to the girl that had a baby for 4 years, and we didn't get along too well. And she caused a fight with me. I threatened her on camera that I'd break her neck, and I went back to prison for communicating with threat. But it's non-violent. So at first they offered me 4 years. I said, if she gives me another better deal than that, I'll take it. I called back 15 minutes later. She said 2 years. And that 2 years dropped down to like 33%, which was nothing. So I took it. But it came with a strike.
Shit. Okay.
I have 3 strikes. I have 2 violent and 1 non-violent. One more, I'm screwed.
I was going to say one more, yeah.
So I'm doing everything like I'm supposed to. I won't skip at BART. Go ahead. You can have all of them if you want. I got all this to eat. But I do everything. I do things the way you're supposed to be doing it. I do AA meetings 4 times a week. I do trans support groups. So I'm a part of my community and all of that stuff. I mean, crap, I'm about to be 47 this year. So, yeah. And I'm in a program, and it's housing, and it's moving along, and I'm going to a better housing, and I'm signing a different housing contract, so I get to stay there longer. And it's just all because I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? I quit doing drugs, yeah. And once you start doing what you're supposed to be doing, it really works.
Everything come together.
It does. No more headaches. It's the drugs, it's the alcohol, it's all the stuff that goes in between getting it and all involved. No, I don't want nothing to do with any of that life anymore. So it's like now after I quit smoking, it's like I gotta find something else to do. It's like, fuck. Smoking did eat up a lot of time. Now I don't do that no more. I mean, I'll smoke weed though.
Yeah, I was going to ask you too about you said the classes and whatnot. I was going to ask you, is that helping you essentially keep your time occupied so you don't have to think about other things?
Yeah. The weight in the classes, yeah. Definitely does help.
And are you, if you don't mind me asking, are you still currently taking any hormones?
Yes, I'm taking HRT right now. I'm still gonna keep taking hormones, but I'm not gonna remove the bottom half. I'm gonna definitely keep it
Keep it too. Okay.
for a while. But I have top surgery coming up, and I'm at facial feminization and body contouring. So yeah, I quit smoking and all that just for that, because they can take that from us if you smoke.
I was actually to my next question is if you have any surgeries and if you plan on having any more surgeries.
Just the two. Oh, and then I got one for orthopedic to get a screw removed out of the heel of my foot. I have 7 screws in the heel of my foot, and one of them's kind of like working its way back out.
That shit.
Yeah, it hurts.
Pain. Do you mind telling me what was some of maybe your biggest regrets in life?
Being afraid to lose my parents sooner. Cutting the umbilical cord from my mother. My mother was an enabler. I'd get in domestics and she would help me get out of them, beat them or something. And she would really converse with me. And I had to get away from it. Yeah, I wish I just had transitioned a lot sooner.
And again, do you mind telling me your biggest fear in life right now?
Not making it as trans. Not being supportive enough. I don't know. It's just failing at this is my biggest fear. That's the biggest one.
Can you tell me some of the biggest lessons you learned in life?
Not to be mean to other people, to be nice. That it's harder to be nice than it is to be mean. It's very easy to be mean and nasty to people than it is to be genuine and nice. So yeah, that's something I learned.
What advice would you give someone who was on the ropes of transition or just thinking about the hustle situation?
Do it and go numb. I encourage the numb feeling. You shut down when you go numb. You don't feel to anybody's emotions about what you do or how you're living. You just go numb to it. Everybody knows when you're in trance and you talk about the numb feeling, we all know what it is. So I encourage it.
Now, I would say this is my last question to wrap it up. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Being a part of the trans community, being a part of this community, being supportive, being an advocate for trans rights and stuff. That's where I see myself.
And I was gonna say you can definitely keep talking. I just was all the questions I did have myself.
Oh, okay. You're fine.
Yeah.